Hello everyone, good evening. I'm sharing my screen. So I'm logging into OIC instance base. So we need to build a HCM extract automation service in OIC today. We did create a HCM extract in Fusion Cloud yesterday, and we've run it as well. So let's check whether the HCM extract output is uploaded to UCM or not, first of all. Otherwise, we'll run the extract one more time. So I'm logging into ESEC instance as HCM implementation user. And I go into my client group, data exchange. We're going to extract definition, and there's one easiest way to check it. So I can go ahead and access the content server. Remember, this was the extract that we created yesterday, right? UG63 HCM extract. And and with what name I uploaded the file to UCM, guys? It is UG HCM extract.xml, right? So it's not the content ID. I need to search with that file name here. So we ran the extract yesterday after we created. So if the extract run was successful, we should be able to see the file uploaded to UCM here, the XML file. It is waiting for the response. Yeah, we could see that the file has been uploaded to UCM, and you could also see this XML file. I can download this XML, and I can also open it with a browser. Now you are able to see the employee details extracted here. So you see the persons, you see the person details, and whatever assignments that particular person has worked on, you would be able to see those assignment details as well, the person details. And within the and whatever assignments that particular person has worked on, you have the details within it. Okay, so you have person details printed first, and then the assignment details within a person tag. And for an extract to complete sooner, I restricted the employees to be fetched to a subset. I applied a filter there. Now, what is the requirement, guys? Our requirement is to build an integration in OIC. And what should this integration do, guys? It's going to be scheduled orchestration that we will create. And from the scheduled orchestration, we will use HCM Cloud connection to go into UCM, and we will search for the XML output uploaded by our specific extract. And the output that we get from here, so the XML file gets downloaded here. We'll first see how to dump it to an SFTP location first. We'll first see how to dump it to an SFTP location. And apart from just dumping the XML file as is to SFTP, apart from this, what else we can do? We can do a stage file read action here, so that the entire output of HCM extract would be available in a mapper, and I can send it to any destination I want. And when we go to UCM and search for the files here, remember, we will be passing in a document ID as input here. So what this HCM extract would do is, when it searches for the files in UCM, it's going to search for the files whose document ID is more than the previous process document ID. So initially, we create one variable called last process document ID. We initialize it to 0. When the extract runs for the first time, it runs with 0. It's going to get this output, and it's going to deliver it to the destination. And here, what do? whatever is the document ID of this particular file in UCM, we assign that document ID to the schedule parameter. So that when the integration runs tomorrow, and when it searches for the files in UCM, this document ID would be passed as input, the document ID of this. And this node will search for the files whose document ID is more than the previous processed file. So the document ID is basically a way to prevent whatever files have been already sent to the destination, we don't want to resend them. How do we prevent from, how do we avoid sending the same files again and again to a same destination? With the help of a document ID. So let's build this integration. We need HCM cloud connection and FTP connection, right? We'll go to projects. You can create it as a scheduled orchestration. And I'm going to define one parameter called last process document ID. We have gone through all these steps. We have created an extract and we have submitted it to ERP Cloud as well. And I'm going to set that last process document ID to 0. I'll set last process document ID to 0. And what exactly do we need to do, guys? Well, we need to go ahead and use a HCM cloud connection. And I would say get HCM extract output from UCM. And I'm going to use this option to receive the HCM extract output from HCM cloud. Remember, the output of HCM extract uploaded the output to UCM, right? So I need to receive files from HCM cloud. And I need to mention the name of the integration. So in this particular extract that I've created, guys, what is the name that I mentioned within the integration? What's the integration name I mentioned in the delivery options? If you go to deliver here, there is a name that you mentioned, right? So there is a name that you mentioned. So this is a name that you need to use here. So this acts as a link between the extract and the integration. Now, when this node goes and searches for the files uploaded by this extract in UCM, you can also mention a specific date and time, so that what would happen when it searches for the files in UCM, it's going to search for the files uploaded after this cutoff date. So if you want to restrict the HCM Cloud adapter to search for files uploaded only after a specified cutoff date, you can mention it here if you want. But I'm going to leave it blank. And it's just warning me, saying that, Prasad, please ensure that you enter a right integration name here. Yes, that is the right name. Or I say finish. Now we need to pass in last process document ID as input. So when the integration runs for the first time, it's going to run with last process document ID as 0. And after this, what do we need to do? We need to drop the file to SFTP location. Whatever file we'll receive from UCM, one straightforward thing we do is we can drop it to SFTP location. HCM extract. I'm going to create a folder with name HCM extract. I'm going to copy this. Write HCM extract to SFTP. And I can also mention EMP assignment. And I can also use a sequence pattern.xml. And I don't need to upload any sample file here. It's not really required. Click on finish. Now, when we write a file, what do we need to map this? We need to map the file reference. So when we receive a file from UCM, you get a file reference, and in the file, you get a response. In the response, you have ICS file reference here. So you would map it here. So whatever XML file that we are downloading, I'm passing it as input and I'm dropping it in SFTP location here. And what else I want to do? I also want to update that last process document ID. I also want to update that last process document ID. I also want to update the last process document ID. I want to set the last process document ID to this particular value. We're getting a download file from UCM, right? So in the response, you have a document ID. So I'm going to write it to this. So whatever is the document ID that we have that we are sending to the destination, I'm assigning it to the schedule parameter. So why am I doing this, guys? Because tomorrow, when the integration runs, when it goes to UCM and searches for a file, it would search for a file whose document ID is more than what is updated here. Okay, so this is done to avoid sending the same file to the destination again and again. Enabling tracking here. And we go ahead and activate the integration. I'm going to set the debug level to production. And we also go ahead and run it. And I'm doing another run now. You could see that there's an instance ID generated here. You could see that there's an instance ID generated here. Let's go ahead and track it. So we can see the activity stream. So all the steps in the integration has been executed successfully here. So we're getting a HCM extract output from UCM, and that output we are delivering as is to SFTP, and we are also updating the last process document ID. So if I go to UCM, I should be able to see the XML file uploaded here. So this is one straightforward thing that we can do. So what we can do is, instead of writing a BIP report and reading that output or dumping it to SFTP location, instead of writing that BIP report, we can also achieve it using HCM extract as well. So I'm going to say create a folder with UG63, and I would dump this XML file. Now, if you see the file, it should have been uploaded to it should have been copied to my local drive. And this output, if you see, it's nothing but the same output that HCM extract has uploaded to UCM. So this file has been picked up from UCM and it has been delivered to the SFTP location. So reading the file and delivering it to SFTP. And now after the file is delivered to SFTP location, what else are we doing, guys? That particular file document ID, we are updating it on the variable. That particular document ID, we are updating it on the variable. So you see last process document ID is updated to this value now. Initially it was 0, now it is this. So if I go ahead and run this integration now, with what document ID would it run? It is going to run with that new value that I have assigned to the schedule parameter. So when it runs tomorrow, it's going to search for the files which are updated after this document ID. But apart from just reading the file and sending it to the SFTP location as is, what else we can do, guys? Whatever we did in VIP report or outbound plus service, right? We can do the same. We can do the same thing here as well. Instead of dropping it to SFTP as is. Yes, Vishal. Please go on, Vishal.
Prasad, yes. Prasad, how next day when the integration will run, correct? This document ID is in variable. Where we are putting a condition where it should be bigger than the previous day, and how it will retain, because it will be another instance of the integration.
No, it is, we are passing this as input here, right? So when we are fetching the files from UCM here, so here we are going to UCM and fetch the files, right? So I said receive the files here, and in the mapper, I was passing in that document ID as input. Okay, we use HCM Cloud connection, right? And we said receive files from HCM Cloud. So to that particular node, I'm passing the last process document ID as input here. So when the integration runs for the first time, it will be 0. When the integration runs tomorrow, it will be that 5 lakh number.
But it will be a different instance, correct, for this integration?
Instance doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, instance is basically a request ID here. It doesn't really matter, right? We're not using instance ID. This is document ID. So the file that is uploaded in UCM, right? So this file uploaded in UCM has a document ID, auto-generated document ID. So if I upload a new file now, it would definitely have a document ID more than this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how internal. So we are passing a document ID as input. So if your question is how is HCM Cloud searching for the files whose document ID is more than what we are passing in here, that is handled internally here by the HCM Cloud adapter.
Okay, it is okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So apart from dumping the file as is to SFTP location, what else we could do? We can do a stage file read action. I'll just cancel this. We can do a stage file read action, exactly same as what we did earlier. You can say read HCM extract output. And I would say read entire file. Or to read the entire file. I can say, yes, I'll say that I'll pass in file reference as input. And if you look at the response that you get, you have a file reference there. And I don't need to upload any sample file here. I said read entire file, yes. File reference I map. Is it forcing me to? Yeah, sorry, we need to upload a sample file here because we're trying to read a file. But what's a sample file here? It's a sample XML file that we have, right? That's output generated by HCM Extract. I'm going to upload that file here, whatever file that was generated by HCM Extract, right? I'm going to upload that file. So what would happen when you read a HCM Extract output? So all the benefit of reading HCM Extract output is the entire output of the HCM Extract XML file, all the fields would be available in a mapper, and I can send it to any destination I want. Say, for example, I can use ATP connection, I can invoke a REST connection or a SOAP connection, and the BIP report output, which becomes available in the mapper as a response of this node, I can just map it. So as an example, let me show you how to use ATP connection. I'll say insert EMP assignment data into ATP. And do an insert operation. Insert HCM extract to ATP. And I would select perform an operation on a table, insert operation. There's a table called EMP assignment that I've created. We can just go ahead and select this one, select this table, and I can go ahead and map the values to this. I'm just selecting few random keys that I want to use as a primary key. And click on finish. Now, whatever is the output that you see in a stage file response, whatever is the output you see in a stage file response, you see the person information here. So you have these details, you have the person and the assignment details. So you can just go ahead and insert the details. You can go ahead and do the mappings here. So the person, first name, last name, and so on. Remember, one person could have multiple assignments, right? One person could have multiple assignments. So how are you going to do this mapping? So can you directly map this assignment, guys? Can you directly map this assignment name with assignment name? It is going to throw an error saying that it's going to throw an error saying that we will not, it's going to throw an error saying that you cannot map a repeating row to a normal element. Okay, so because one person could have multiple assignments, right? So I cannot map assignment name to name here because if there are multiple assignments, OIC mapper would not know whether it has to pass in the first assignment or a second assignment. So how do you deal with these mappings, guys? Especially the repeating row mappings to the target. What we normally do is, let me show you. You get into this. I'm going to go ahead and add a mapper again. Now, what you need to do is, before you do the mappings, we have this persons as a repeating element, right? So I need to go ahead and use a for each loop first of all. Okay, first of all, I need to loop through the persons because there could be multiple persons in it, right? And what is it that I want to loop through? So I'll say for each person. Okay, and I'm going to map the person details here. So this is, remember, this is a person's repeating element. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do was, I want to keep it simple. I want to see there are multiple persons, right? So I want to loop through the persons first. Okay. I want to loop through the persons, and within the person, I want to insert a record into ATP table. So I want to map this person's repeating element here first thing. Okay. And I'm going to call this as current person. Okay. Everybody with me so far, guys? No confusion? So I'm picking up one person at a time and I'm going into a loop. And remember, assignment, is there a loop again for assignments? One person could have multiple assignments, right? So what do I have to do? Please respond, guys. I'll lose interest. I'm not sure what's going on. For the last 3 or 4 sessions, right? Everybody is maintaining pin drop silence. For each assignment, I'm saying. Yeah. I'm going to map the assignment repeating element here, because very well possible that one person could have multiple assignments. We could see it in example here, right? We see this person has worked on 2 assignments. So a person could have multiple assignments. So remember, I cannot map the repeating element, because if I map the repeating element, end of the day, one record is inserted to ATP table, right? It cannot insert 2 assignments into one table. Okay. So what we do was, we wanted to go through that repeating element of assignments. What's happening here? Yeah. Sorry, I should not be reading this assignment rule, guys. So you see there is a current person, right? So for this particular person, you have assignments here. So this repeating group is what I need to pick up. This repeating group is what I need to pick up. So because current employee is already picked up here. So if this is an employee that we have, the first employee, and for the first employee, you see there are 2 assignments here. So what is it that I want to do? So this person is what you see here. This person details you see here. And here you see assignments repeating elements. So these 2 assignments is what you see here. So this is what I need to use as a repeating element. Okay, and what do you see? You see, call it as current assignment. I'm going to call it as for each assignment. And I'm going to move these 2 into the loop. And what do you do in here? You see that there is a current assignment, current person. I can pick up the details from here, the person details, and I can pick up the assignment details from here. Okay, this is how you need to loop through that repeating elements, guys. So I'm going to pick one person at a time, and I'm going to loop through it. So the person, if a person has multiple assignments, the person details would remain the same. And assignment details, I need to pick it up from here. So if a person has multiple assignments, 2 records would be inserted. So instead of one table, if your client has created 2 tables, what is it that you would do? It's even more simpler, right? So you would just insert employee details into employee table, assignment details into assignment table. Okay, this is how you need to do the mapping. Loop through the persons first, then the assignments, and within the innermost loop, you do the you send the data to ATP. Inserting the details to a ATP table is just an example, guys. I can send the data to any destination a client wants here, because all the output of the HCM extract is available in the mapper. Okay, any questions, guys, in this integration? Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We'll go ahead and talk about the atom feeds now. So HCM extracts is what you need to use when you have to do a bulk extraction of the data, right? So if you have to extract all the employee assignments updated in the last 1 day, could be 100, 200, or 1,000 or 2,000. In such cases, we can go ahead and use a HCM extract. But what if you want to do a low data volume upload, guys? What if you want to handle a low data volume updates done in HCM Cloud? That's when HCM atom feeds come into picture. So if you take one step back and go in here, we have seen business events, we have seen VIP, we have seen HCM extracts, we need to look at atom feeds. Unfortunately, atom feeds is not working in OIC Gen 3 instance, guys. This was the case at least with the previous OIC Gen 3 instance, but let me give it a try and see if this atom feeds integration is working now. So if you just go into this integration itself, when you use a HCM cloud connection, I just want to do a quick check to check if atom feeds is working. Ever since we've got Gen 3, we are running into this issue, guys. Atom feed is working. So we can subscribe to something called as atom feeds here. I go to the next screen. And I can pick up, so these are all the atom feeds that Oracle provides in HCM Cloud. So meaning, so this is something similar to business events that you have in ERP Cloud. So if the number of updates that are going to be done in Fusion Cloud or HCM Cloud is going to be very, very less, instead of using an extract to do a bulk extraction, I can subscribe to that atom feed from a scheduled orchestration. I can subscribe to employee termination or new hire or employee updates. And what I can do, whatever employees are updated, whatever new hires are done or terminated, right? I can send that information to ADP directly from within the scheduled orchestration itself. Yes, one important point is we cannot use atom feeds as a trigger point for integration. I'm not sure how many of you noticed it. Whenever you do any HCM related integration, you cannot do it as a trigger, guys. So I cannot trigger an integration whenever HCM extract uploads a file to UCM, or I cannot trigger an integration whenever employee is updated or terminated, because we cannot use atom feeds as a trigger or HCM cloud connection as a trigger. That is not possible. Instead, it has to be a scheduled orchestration. Probably every half an hour or every 1 hour, I can see if there are any new hires or terminations. I can get that information by subscribing to that atom feed, and I can send it to the destination. So let's say I want to pick up employee updates. The moment I select this update, I'm getting this error message, guys. We did raise an SR as well, and there is an enhancement request pending with Oracle for HCM atom feed not working in OIC Gen 3. But once this issue is resolved, you should be able to build a HCM atom feed integration as well. But let me show you how this integration is going to look like, guys. I have imported one integration that I created in OIC Gen 3. Sorry, OIC Gen 2. Just to give you a fair idea. So if you go into integrations, you go into UG. I'll just search for atom feeds about this. So the atom feed integration that you're going to create would look something like this, guys. Okay, so first of all, what is it that you're going to do? It's going to be a HCM cloud connection. Okay, looks like I need to change. Yeah, so it's a scheduled orchestration that we have that we're going to build, and we would use HCM cloud connection. We would use HCM cloud connection. And what is it that we're going to do? It is throwing an error now. And what exactly would you do in this particular node, guys? In this particular node, you would just say that I want to subscribe to employee updates. I want to subscribe to employee updates here, or employee termination or new hires. And what is it that you're going to do? Yes, you will also pass in a cutoff time as well here, cutoff time as well. So that this HCM cloud connection would go to Atom server where the feeds are stored. New hires, terminations, job update, position update, everything is stored in there. I can use HCM cloud connection and mention which information am I interested in. Like when you use ERP, you said item update or invoice created or journal posted, right? Similarly, here we use HCM connection and we say employee update, employee termination, employee new hire, etc. And the moment you try to get the atom feed, after you get the atom feed, what would happen, guys? What I wanted to do was, after you get the atom feed that you get is going to have, if you search for or if you subscribe to employee updates here, there is a possibility that multiple employees could have been updated. It could be 10 employees or 20 employees, right? Very much. And on every employee, again, there could be multiple attributes updated. On one employee, first name and last name could have been updated. On another employee, there could be there could be only email ID updated, or on a third employee, there might be 4 or 5 attributes updated. So if you subscribe to employee update here, you're going to get a response, and in the response, you have employee as a repeating element. Yes, of course, multiple employees could be updated, and you also have attribute as a repeating element. So on every employee, there could be multiple attributes updated. And exactly similar to what I have done just now, what do we need to do, guys? Whenever you have a repeating row, and if I want to grow down to a granular level, I need to loop through the employees first and then the attributes. And within the loop, what is it that I'm trying to do? I'm trying to prepare a file and dump it to SFTP location here. So I'm preparing a file here and putting it in SFTP location. Instead of doing this, what else we can do, guys? Sorry, I'm preparing a file here. I'm preparing a file, CSV file with those employee and attribute updates here. I'm doing a stage file write operation here. And after this, whatever updates have already been read from that Atom server, right? I'm just updating a timestamp here. So there's a timestamp variable that we create here as a schedule parameter, and we keep updating it so that when in the next integration run, when it runs, it's only going to fetch the Atom or employee updates done after the previous run. So in every integration, you would notice that if it is a schedule one, there should be a way to avoid sending the same data to the destination again. In one integration, we use document ID. In another integration, we use the date. In this integration, we use date and a timestamp. Okay, so that is the timestamp that we are updating here. And what is it that we are doing here? Whatever is the stage file that I'm writing to OIC staging area, I'm dumping that final file. After all the employee details are written to one stage file, I'm dumping it in SFTP here. So since I'm writing the file to SFTP here, I'm mapping the file reference here. So whatever is the stage file that I'm writing here, I'm mapping that file reference here. Now tell me one thing, guys. Is there a possibility that in 1 hour, it could be very much possible that there is no employee updated, right? Yes or no? In which case, what would happen is, if no employee is updated, what would happen? So yes, we will go ahead and search for employee updates, but we don't have any updates. So it doesn't even enter this loop, right? Because we are searching for the looping through the employees here. It doesn't even enter this loop. And if it doesn't enter the loop, what would happen? The file, a stage file itself will not be created here. So this FTP write file operation will error out. So that is why what I do is, whatever file that we want to write here, or whatever file that we are writing to SFTP here, also client might sometimes say, Prasad, we need a file with a, client might say that, Prasad, we need a sample file, which is going to look something like this. They want a sample file, which is going to look something like this. So they need a file with a header row. Sorry, not this one. I can pick up any of the file here. I'll pick up the latest one. So this is a sort of a file that we need to dump it to an SFTP location. So yes, the file that we need to send, dump it to SFTP, it should have a header row. This is what a client has told me. It should have a header row. It needs to have the person details. And we also need to capture the changed attribute, what has changed, and what was the new value and what's the old value. Now, one benefit of using Atom feeds, guys, is when you get the Atom feed, remember we are getting the updates, right? Employee updates. So one benefit of using Atom feed is you will get both the old value and a new value. Remember, guys, if you subscribe to a business event in ERP Cloud, would you get an old value, guys? You won't get it. You would only get the latest value, but that is not the case with Atom feeds. So in Atom feeds, you will get both the new and the old values as well. So say, for example, for this particular employee, these are the fields that have been updated. Okay. So what I did is, just to avoid the integration from failing, because we are doing a write file operation here, to prevent the integration from failing, even if there is no employee updated, what is the best way to handle this? And also there is one more requirement as well, right? We need to generate a file with a header row. So what is it that we would do? We would immediately after you subscribe to Atom feed, we would do a stage file write action here. And I'm going to upload this sample CSV file. And what is it that we do in the mapper? If I want to generate a file with a header row, what do I do, guys? I'll put in that headings there. I'll put in a labels as a value here, so that what would happen? Yes, the file would be generated, and with these values would be put as a first row. This would be the first row that would be written to the file. So the file gets created, and to that file, this labels would be written there as a header row. And after that, what is it that we are doing? When we are opening up the same file, so the same file we are opening here. And when we are writing the data to the same file, what do? There's one little checkbox called append. This is something that we need to check. When we take this, what would happen? This file already exists in this location. There's also a header row as well. Now we will start writing the data rows. So creating a file with this row happens in this step. In this step, that would be the output. And after that, what would happen? Within the loop, what is it that I'm trying to do? I'm going to pick up each and every employee. And for that employee, what are the fields that are updated? I'm going to write it down here. And then I'm going to pick up the second employee and I'm going to write it down there. Okay, so this is how you need to, this is what we are doing here. And in the last step, we're dumping everything to SFTP. Okay, so this atom feeds is not working, guys. Otherwise, you just have to select this, and these bits you already know how to write a file loop through it, inner loop, do a stage file write action, because we've already done this. In fact, we've just done this one 5 minutes back. Okay, so you can go ahead and try this one as well. Okay. Any questions, guys, in atom feeds? But what are the two important things with atom feeds? You cannot trigger an integration based on atom feed. That's the first point. And what's the second important point? You would get both the old and new values. Yeah. Yes, Vishal, go on.
So, Prasad, there is a person update and then there is an assignment update. So both are tracked under different.
It would be under employee update itself. You will have that. Under employee update itself, you would have that, because we don't have anything called assignment update.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yes, Sachin.
Yeah, Prasad. I just did a practice for this HCM data loader, the one which we did last week. Yeah. So what I observed is like after the program our interface get completed and the data got loaded, and suppose we have some error and the data has not been loaded, but still our interface will not error up, and we'll be able to see the return this position what do you call ID will be getting up. So
yeah, you will get a request ID, and when you get the HDL status, right, that status is going to say out of 10 lines, 7 has been loaded and 3 could not be loaded because of errors. Okay. But if you want to get what is the exact error message, then you need to invoke another REST API. I think there is one more REST API given by Oracle. You need to call that REST API to get the error records. In Fusion HCM Cloud, there is one profile option that you can enable. And if you enable that profile option, what would happen, guys? If you enable that profile option, within the HDL screen itself, you have an option to download the error files. So if you're going to import and load screen, okay, so there will be one profile option that we need to enable in HCM Cloud. And if we enable that that profile option, what would happen? So you would see one option here called download error lines. So if you load in a file with 100 records and if 10 of them error out, when you click on that button, those 10 error records would be downloaded. So one way is, yes, a support team can, usually that option would be enabled in HCM Cloud. Whenever we do the implementation, that would be enabled so that they can download the error records from here by clicking on that button. And what's another option? Another option is, that is doing it manually. And I think there is also a REST API to pull the HDL error records as well. We can also call that REST API to get the error details.
Okay. Because what I observed, like we had a GL interface where we are subscribing, right? And sorry, back, what you call
AFPDI callback you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking that we have something similar to that.
No, we don't have that concept itself here. There's no concept of callback at all. HCM doesn't, in HCM Cloud, we don't have business events itself first place.
That's what, even when you were trying to discuss about this atom feeds, I was thinking that is actually similar to that.
Correct. Yeah, that's a reason, because we don't have business events, so we have something called as atom feeds for it.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys, from anyone?
Prasad, that document ID, correct? It's still confusing because I considered each integration as a package. So you run one concurrent program or one package, and then you store that document ID. And when next run of that integration happens or that concurrent program run happen, how it will know that the previously I stored the document ID and now current document ID should be bigger than the previous one, because within that instance only that variable ID value will retain. In the next run, how it will know that previous document?
That assumption is itself is wrong, right? So you see this schedule orchestration, okay? So shall I go ahead and run this now?
Okay.
And if I run this, what is your guess? So what you're saying is, Prasad, whatever instance was done earlier, it was done, right? So as per your assumption,
correct.
Now if I run it, the document ID will be 0 again.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay, let's run it.
Yes.
What is it that you see here?
Oh, okay.
So this schedule parameter that we are using, right? So this parameter value would be retained across run size. So if I update this within the integration to a new value, that new value will be there. When we run the integration next time, it's going to run with this value, not with the previous value.
Okay.
Yeah. So say, for example, if I run this now, and say, for example, if it is 982 that has been picked up and processed, in the third run, what would be the value? This would be the value. And that's the same thing that we noticed in outbound flow also, right? So in outbound flow integration, what did we do? We were doing, what is it that we were doing? We were pulling the employee and assignment details based on a date, right? Last update date. So that's the same logic that we used here, right? Here also we did the last update date variable. Okay, I've set up a default value. The date of the go live. We run the report and it's going to fetch previous day records here. And I'm updating that date here to today's date. So when integration runs tomorrow, it's going to run with yesterday's date and it's going to pull all the details. So if I run this now, what would happen? It would have the updated value. So if I go ahead and run this, so this was my default value, but after I ran this integration yesterday, it got updated to 29, right? Not yesterday, day before yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. So schedule parameter value will be retained across instances, guys. Please note that.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is
because
how we are going
it stores instances. Every instance records are already stored. So that is the
Okay. Now we need to create one more integration, guys. But that integration we will create when we do the end-to-end solution. So we need to create one more integration called AR Invoice REST API. But this REST API we're going to create as part of end-to-end solution that we're going to build, and we will do this sometime next week. And in tomorrow's session, we're going to talk about admin aspects related to integration space. So I'm going to dedicate a whole session talking about it. I'll teach you how to migrate integrations from one instance to another instance. We'll do the hands-on. And I'll also talk about how versioning and cloning of integrations work. Okay, and after that, we move on to a VBCS from day after tomorrow. And just one request, guys, for everyone. So I'm going to ask admin to send out a feedback link to everyone. We usually collect feedback twice in the course, guys. Once we're done with the integrations track, which is like almost like 60 or 70%. And we'll collect the feedback one more time after we do the VBCS and PCS as well. So you would receive a Google review feedback link. I request you to just hit that link, give a rating, whatever you feel is appropriate for this course. If you have already done it, a couple of you have already done it. Thank you very much. You can basically ignore that message. And if you have not done it earlier, I'm going to just click on that link, give whatever rating you think the course deserves. And if you can spare one more minute, just write in a couple of lines there, what you feel about the course. This would basically help others about what we're doing here. Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.